on this side. Let's see.
All right, peace, everyone. This just started. It's your girl, Belle Thanos. It's been a long time. Sorry, a lot been going on over here. So, all right, peace, everyone. Let me mute that. Okay, I knew it was going to be backfeed. I was just waiting for it to pop up so I can mute it. I'm here today with one of our sisters from the BAIO, Pamela. She has been studying and learning Swahili. And I know a lot of us talked about learning an African language, Swahili particularly too. So we're just gonna chop it up today and talk about like her tips and tricks of learning it, how far along she's gotten, where she traveled, where she plans to travel, all those lovely things. So Pamela, you can introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, my name is Pamela. I'm a traveling occupational therapist, so I kind of travel around. But in terms of my Africa travels, I've been to South Africa, went on the safari, and I believe the name is Kruger National Park, and I went to Soweto, Johannesburg. I was trying to learn a bit of Xhosa, the clicking language. That was really difficult, and it was hard to find somebody to kind of tutor me with
Where
that.
do they speak that one? I'm not
Xhosa?
familiar with that one. Yeah.
Well, Mandela, his name is Xhosa, so that's South
Oh,
Africa. Yeah, the
okay.
Xhosa language, the clicking language.
Okay.
Yeah,
The-
and went to Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and that was beautiful. So when my first trip to South Africa, I'm hooked, and I've been trying to get back ever since.
mm.
But since then, I've been to like Costa Rica, Mexico, and those type of places. So
How
I
long
am.
ago was that you went to South Africa? Sorry to
It was 3 years ago.
interrupt. Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was 3 years ago. Matter of fact, one of my partners, I went to not Costa Rica, that I went to South Africa with. She's here visiting me at the winery in Virginia. So we're always talking about getting back there. But I had planned on going back in August.
Uh-huh.
But my tenant moved out of my house, and some
Right.
water damage needed to be fixed. So it took a little bit of my vacation money. But I
Like,
think everything is going to be as we speak now. And the guys they're fixing it, so
okay.
I'm hoping it doesn't cost me too much. But I got big plans.
All right. All right.
I'm going to sell. I'm in the process of actually selling that house.
Right. You
Number
mentioned,
one, it's too big. It finishes out over 4,000 square feet. I don't need a house that big.
and it's
So
in Virginia.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm selling in that house, and I bought some land down south near my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm traveling, I can put all my personal things I want to keep, and and she can look after it. But I've met up with some people from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
So Ghana's on my radar this year, and like I was telling you before, I want to go to Kenya,
Right.
and I want to go to Zanzibar. So I'm still keeping in contact with the gentleman I learned about through Miss Trudy. I don't know if anyone follows Miss Trudy on YouTube, but she was given excellent information on a Kenyan-based tour guide.
Do you
So
know what her channel is, or
Miss
is she
Trudy,
pretty? We can
Miss
just
Trudy,
put in the.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She just recently was traveling with Guatemala
Oh,
in
okay.
Nigeria. So that I guess they're partners. I'm not really sure the
Hold on
definition
for
of
one second. Let
relationship,
me just
but
turn on the light to get more lighting in here.
yeah.
All right. Bear with me. Hopefully that makes a difference. I don't know.
So
I think it just
it's
made me
very
dark. I
humid
don't
here
know.
in Virginia. So you might see me start sweating. It's very humid. The humidity
It's
is very
fine. It's
high.
fine. I'm in Alaska. It's hot over here.
so
Like,
um so I had started following her, and I was already interested because when I was traveling out in Hawaii, one of my friends, she's Kenyan and she's a horticulturist, and so
mm-hmm.
was trying to get her to teach me Swahili, but I guess in the last 4 months, I started learning. I just got flashcards,
Okay.
um, and then I Duolingo. I've been using Duolingo.
Okay.
And I also watched a very good TED talk about how to acquire a language within 6 months
Oh, what?
at a conversational level. How to acquire a second language at a conversational level.
And they
So
give
when I watched that TED talk, what he was saying is that you need a language parent. So that I'm in the process now of trying to find a language parent because we actually acquire language. We don't learn the grammatics of language until until you're older, until you're like kindergarten. That's when you really start acquiring, the grammatical forms of any language.
right.
So right now I'm in the process of finding a language parent. So
So
meanwhile, I watch cartoons in Swahili, and I also watch fairy tales
wait,
in
where do you get
Swahili.
cartoons in Swahili? Do you like? Did you order like children's DVDs or something or
No,
children's?
everything's on YouTube.
Oh,
On,
okay, that's
on
true.
YouTube, or I'll Google, free
Right.
Swahili children's book. So there is some libraries online. Can you see me? It's a little dark in here. There are some libraries online that you can kind of get different levels of children's books
Uh huh.
in Swahili, and there's a couple children's books on YouTube. So I just read those over and over again in my flashcards. And if anyone comes to visit me, what I do is I have them kind of, you know, help me study.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Now,
that
do
way.
you have like a set amount of time per day or how many days per week that you do this? Like, do you put yourself on a schedule or do you kind of do it as you can because, you're a busy woman?
Well, right now, because I'm busy trying to get my house on the market, I've been
Uh-huh.
just trying to do it as I can, and I try to listen to something in Swahili at least 10 minutes a day.
Okay, that's not bad.
When I was out in California, I did it every night for a half an hour, and I would watch one fairy tale or read a book, a
Hmm.
children's every night. Because once I got finished my assignment, I just went, and
Right.
that was what I did when I got home. One story tale, fairy tale, and one book,
Okay.
one children's book, and I would do Duolingo. So I would do Duolingo about 15 minutes a day, and if I was really getting really good, and I would do it a little bit longer.
Okay. And Duolingo, is that the program you're using to learn it? Is like an app or
Yes, it's an app. It's a free app, but you can
okay.
expand it to be longer. I'm going to go outside. They're doing a tour here at the winery.
Oh, and you feel like you're interrupting him? That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out.
That's fine.
But anyway, um, so yeah, I do Duolingo. Um, I'm not really good enough to do movies yet,
Oh no.
but I find that I'm understanding a lot. Not conversationally, but I can listen and I can understand um, what people are saying.
Oh. Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty good then.
Yeah, especially nouns. I'm really getting good at my nouns of knowing, person, place, or in things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There was another one that's really good. It's the Dar es Salaam language school, and it's in Tanzania.
Uh-huh.
He also puts out excellent videos, and he has like maybe
Uh-huh.
six series. He has like six series, and he does go through how to ask the question, how to say good morning, how to say good afternoon, how habari za mchana, hazaraba abushi, habari ajani, so how do you say good evening? How do you say good night? So
Yeah,
he's really good.
that's really
That video is really good.
all right. I was just posting a link to Duolingo so people can look into it and
Yeah.
download it. So that's pretty cool. Now have you started learning how to do like some of the reading and writing of it? Because I realize that's just like another different
Well,
level of reading.
okay. No, well, so Duolingo, you have to write your answers. So
Oh,
you learn,
that's
yeah. So with
it's
Duolingo, you
not
are learning the grammatics.
okay, so it's not just audio where you listen and repeat.
No,
And so, oh,
right. Yeah. So, if it tells you, for example, it'll give you good morning. You have to write the word in Swahili.
mm,
So they use a lot of names like Juma and Rahima. It says, "How is the morning, Rahima?" Duolingo will say, how do you write it in Swahili? So you
Okay.
have to write it. So it's Habari, Za, Johnny, Rahima. So
Okay.
that's how is the evening. I always get night and evening mixed up, but I think I got it right. I always get evening and night mixed up, but that's how you and you just it's repetitive over and over, so you learn it, you know, in the correct grammatical form. And then they also have a button where you get to hear it, and then you hear it, and they ask you to write it in Swahili.
Okay, that's pretty good. Now,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
going into a little bit of Swahili, like we know it's an African language, just to make it clear to people, Swahili is, one of the Bantu languages. It's spoken
Yes.
primarily in East Africa in several countries,
Right.
I believe. Um,
Right.
Kenya, Tanzania, like you said, that program in Dar es Salaam. Um,
Yeah.
well, I believe in Malawi too. I know a little bit
Yes.
in Rwanda.
Malawi, Uganda.
Uganda too, yeah.
People in Rwanda do speak Kiswahili, not a lot, because
Yeah,
they
it's
have
good
Key
people.
Rwandan is, I believe, their language.
And you don't
But
want
I also listen to Dr. Mumbi. Are you familiar with Dr. Mumbi?
Yes, I am.
Well, Dr. Mumbi just put in her show not too long ago that South Africa is going to start putting it in their children's curriculum.
Good.
And I know Rwanda's is going to have it on on the elementary their school based curriculum.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Good.
in another country, I want to say Zimbabwe, but another country is also going to be putting Swahili
Curriculum, yeah.
in the schools. Yes,
And it
and
expands
I
even
believe, huh?
further. And I know it expands even further. Like parts of the Congo speak Swahili, um,
Yeah,
parts of Zambia, Mozambique. So it's
right,
several countries, mostly on the
right.
east and a little bit in central, that
Yes,
uses
yes.
that as as their form of communication. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is definitely something that's worth learning.
Yes.
And,
And I'm also still brushing up on my French too, because
right.
there's some francophone countries that I want to still go to, and I want to be able to, get around a little bit. So, I do want to know a little bit of French,
And on
but
the east end, I mean, some like Congo speak a lot of French. Rwanda speak a lot of French.
hmm
So it'll work in throughout what Cameroon.
well, I know how to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Où est le salle de bain? Où est
Yeah.
le restaurant? So I know how to go to, I know little things.
Yeah. So no, I mean
Yeah.
having French as a base is definitely a
Yeah.
positive, but I know for the most part, a lot of people like we don't want to, acquire another colonizer's language. We want
But
to go
you know
to
what?
our language, which
Yeah,
is I
I
understand.
hear that. I hear that a lot too. But
Right.
we have to look at the percentage of language that's still based in with the colonizers. Come on.
Right.
If we
Right.
want to communicate and we want to make those changes, you still have to
Exactly.
communicate in the language and say, okay, now let's switch to Swahili, or now let's switch to, instead of English, let's switch to tree, or
Right.
we still
Right.
have to communicate until we break away from that.
And me, I've been like, well, because I'm Haitian, but I didn't
Mhm.
grow up in Haiti. So in the household when I was younger, we did speak Haitian Creole. But
Mhm.
as we got older and went to school, we spoke it less. We started speaking more English. So my mom
Mhm.
just spoke to us in English, and now I'm just like, I got to get back into this language. One, because it plays a
Yes.
base for French. So
Yes.
I've been kind of relearning it, and then I realized, wow, because I've never really grown up in Haiti, I've never learned to read and write in Creole. And like I
Mm,
know how to speak it, I know the phonetic sounds of the word, and I can
right.
understand it. But like reading and writing it, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how difficult this is to do when you haven't learned it in like
Yeah.
medical terms. But
Exactly.
like learning it now, and for years, I'm like, I was kind of going at it with my mom, like, you don't speak to me in Creole enough, you only speak to me in English, and she's like, well, you don't either. So what I started doing, because I noticed my older sister
Mhm.
speaks to her in Creole all the time. And I'm like,
Mhm.
damn it, they're, their ability to communicate with the language is better than mine. So I was like, all right, fine, let me start speaking to her in Creole. And then automatically she started talking to me back in Creole. And I'm like, that's all
See,
it's
you're lucky. You have a language parent. Yes,
so.
yes.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
if you have a steady language parent, you'll be a conversationalist, an intermediate conversation less than 3 months
Well,
because you've been hearing it,
right. I've been
but
hearing.
you just
Yeah, I
you just
never
need to
lost
bring
the
it.
ability to understand it. Some words, is a lot more advanced than I was
Mhm.
ever hearing anyway. So that was difficult. But like, I could always understand it, but it was just speaking it, and my ability to, advance myself with certain words and everything was difficult. But
Right.
now it's becoming easier and easier and easier, and in such a short time too. When I went to France a few years ago,
Mhm.
it's funny because I started speaking Creole there. One, because it has French as a base, so it was
Right.
easy. It's funny as I was there and using that as my primary language. Well, kind of like a choppy version of it mixed with
That's
English.
all right.
The French were really nice. I mean, think there's like a lot of Africans there, so they understood what I was
Mhm.
saying anyway, and they worked with it. And I realized the few days I was there, I was getting better and better and better
Yeah.
at saying language. And this was within in like a week. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, I really need to start executing this language a lot more.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Of course. And one of the things with adults, we get to be a certain age and acquiring a language. One of the things is fears of sounding funny.
right.
You know, well, you are going to sound funny. Number one, it's
Yeah.
not your language,
Yeah.
and I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to sound like a kid." You are, because really, you are a kid, a child of that language. So you
Yep.
have to mature in that language, just like a child has to mature in their native language. You're just older.
Right.
So I try to tell a lot of people because my friends and stuff, they'll see me studying my friend. Aren't you too old to be like? I said no, but I have to put myself in how did we all learn languages? You study, you be around, you listen, you talk back and forth, and you'll learn it. You
Yeah.
just can't be fearful. You're gonna sound. I know I sound silly. I know I sound different. I sound very immature in my language, but I'm okay with that because I
Right.
know with practice it'll sound more mature and more adult like more
And
adult like language.
when I
And but I
discovered,
find that when I go to other countries, like when I go to Costa Rica and I try to muddle through my Spanglish,
uh-huh.
no one no one cares. They even help you,
Exactly.
so
Exactly. That's what I've noticed when people see that you're making the effort to learn
effort.
the language,
Exactly.
your primary language, and you are like putting the effort to do it, they have so much more respect for you, and they're
Yes,
just
they
like,
do.
they're willing to help you. Like, okay, and like they're willing to be a lot more patient because
Exactly.
I'm happy you said that. Like being older, it's you feel childish when you're learning it and you feel kind of embarrassed. You don't want to talk too much. You don't want to say too much. And that's the exact thing you shouldn't do. So it's like,
Right.
I know in some places, actually in Ghana and Tree, they were recommending, to really get a good, if you're just starting learning the language, speak a
Mhm.
lot with children. So the children, if you,
Yes.
you're nervous or like you're going to be judged or whatever, then the children are a lot more forgiving. If you
Mhm.
think the adults are, not going to be patient with you, if that's
Mhm.
what you're worried about, which a lot of times it comes with it. So yeah, so speaking with
Yeah.
children actually
And
helps
and
a lot.
that yeah, and that's why I do the children's stories and I listen to Akili.
Yeah, this is a basic form of the
Mojo, to
language.
learn the numbers, you
Uh-huh.
know. And with my educational background being a therapist, I work with children with special needs. A
Okay,
lot of
good.
music, through music. We learn through music. So learn the alphabet through music, learn the numbers through music. So I listen to all the children's programming on YouTube in Swahili.
That's good. Yeah,
So
there we go.
yeah, I'm with the colors. I do the same thing. So I'm there dancing with the TV with the children. I'm learning the same way I did when I was little with the ABCs. So
And so far, you found that like kind of doing 10 minutes a night, doing the children's stories, like putting a set amount of
10,
time per night,
yeah, 10 to
kind of help
15 minutes
you.
is enough.
Okay. That's
Yeah, because once you feel more confident, now I'll do it longer. Now I'll do it for an hour. Now I'll do a couple of fairy tales, and I find that I'm hearing the words. As a matter of fact, I was at a heritage festival last weekend in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and there was a gentleman there from Zambia, and
uh-huh.
we were looking at the pictures of the animals, and I was able to to name the animals in Swahili. I shocked myself. So
Oh,
um,
okay.
yes. So it was good. And in some things I made errors and he said, "No, say it this way," and said, but I have his card now and I told him I'm going to call him so he can give me maybe a couple tutoring sessions.
That's amazing. There you go.
Yeah.
Learn wherever you can. And the people are really, really nice when they see
Yeah.
you trying to make the effort to learn their language. They have so much more respect for you.
Oh,
It shows that you have respect for the culture, that you're, making an effort to be part of it instead of just be there and just,
right. Just
talk
be a
about it.
tourist.
Yeah, exactly. So now it opens the doors for you to be a lot more a part of the community and
Mhm.
involved. So I
Yeah.
always love the process of learning something new.
Yeah.
That's definitely helpful. When are you planning to go to Kenya? I know you said a few places this year you was
I
hoping
wanted to
to
go in
visit.
August. So I'm not sure about how much it's going to cost to fix the house before I put it on the market.
Right.
But the latest will be September. I'm thinking I could probably pull it off to get there in September. I won't be able to stay. I wanted to stay a whole month. I won't be able to stay a whole month. I'm definitely going to be there for 2 weeks.
Okay, good.
Yeah, going to
That's
be there for 2 weeks.
Well, we're planning a trip to Rwanda in November. I wish you could visit, but I understand it's not easy for people to
Don't
get there.
don't count me out. Don't count me out just
Okay.
yet.
All right, I won't. I won't. I'll keep you in the loop about it then.
Listen, if my house sells in 30 days, I'm not going back to work anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that. Like, how does your work kind of help you fit this in your schedule? Do you travel for work, and uh,
Yeah.
do you do? Because I know for me, like, I'm gonna switch to doing contracts, doing
Hmm.
like short-term contracts every few months, and then
That's what I
take a month or so off. So thankfully, the job affords us to do that. Is
Yeah.
yours similar?
Same. Just you've heard of traveling nurses, right?
Yes.
That I do the same thing as a therapist, except what I do is I do longer contracts. I'll do a whole school year, so that way, like for example, I had never been to California, so what I did was I did the whole school year in Southern California, so that way I can go to San Diego,
Hmm.
down to Mexico, San Francisco. So Palm Springs. So I get to know that part of the United States. I was trying to get someone to go to Singapore with me. I didn't want to go by myself.
Singapore? Wait, when do you plan on going? I'm like, I want to go to
I
Singapore.
was in I was in Riverside. I just got back 2 weeks ago. I was in San Jacinto. So last year I was in Riverside. I probably will go back for 1 year, one more year because I'm going to Singapore. I said I didn't want to go by myself, but this the one place I wanted to go to was Singapore. And I wanted to go to Bali.
Okay, no, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm
That,
actually
those
doing
are
this.
the only two. Those are the only two Asian countries I really wanted to go to. Oh no, no, the other one is Fiji. I wanted to
Oh,
go to Fiji because when I was out in Hawaii, I had cut all my hair off, and well, right now I have these braids in, but I
mhm.
had a really big afro. But I cut my hair off probably about an inch, and when I was out in Hawaii, everybody thought I was Fijian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like,
You gotta
really?
tell us about that. Did you see native Fijians with?
I did. I met some Indo Fijians. I met a couple of native Fijians, and when I was in Hawaii, but most of the people I met in Hawaii was Filipino,
Okay, yeah, yeah, in Hawaii.
Filipino, and Samoan, uh, and Tongan.
So the Fijians you met, like, do
They
they like?
just look like light skinned sisters or brown skin, my complexion
Okay,
sisters,
that is
you
pretty
know.
cool.
But I'm actually I'm like 10 shades lighter than what I was in Hawaii. I had the most beautiful chocolate. I was so dark. In 30 days, my tan was awesome. Then I came back to New York and it was all faded. It was all gone. And it
Yep.
was so funny because when I went over in August, my cousin came to visit me with 30 days of me moving to Hawaii. And she got off the airplane. She says, "My God, look how dark you was." I said, "Isn't it lovely?"
You
It
know
was
what? I
great.
said the I said the same thing when I was in Rwanda. I was loving that my skin
Oh
was
my,
getting darker. One, because my
it's,
skin was clearing up. Like
yes,
it's like
yes,
clearly my
yes,
skin needs the sun because my skin
yes.
was clearing up. Like
And
my acne, all of that stuff was gone. My dark marks was gone because that was all one
yeah,
shade.
my
And
skin cleared up too. I think my skin has been worse since I've been back here.
yeah, as soon as
And
I
I,
got back, of course, getting back to Alaska where there's not as much sun,
yeah, not
winter,
enough sun.
I paled out and then
Melanin mamas should not be in a
good
should
point.
not be in Alaska. But
Good
when I was
point.
in Hawaii, my hair was real short, real short. With by August to the end of May, I had at least 7 inches of hair. My hair
Oh,
grew
wow.
so fast. My mom was like, "Where'd you get all this hair from?" I would do a 2-strand twist and I could pull it to my shoulders. And I had hardly any hair when I left New York.
What did you use when you was there? I'm
I
sure.
just, well, number one, every Sunday I went to the beach.
Okay.
Every Sunday, I went to the beach. And then I would use some type of Hawaiian oil. It was a nut oil.
Okay.
So I'd wash my hair after I come from the beach and I just put that in my hair and I just did a two strand twist. And I used the native oils of the island. I can't remember the name of
So
it.
you basically kept it minimal, like left your hair alone. Did you
I
know?
left my hair alone. I
And
left it alone. I just did
that's
a
what it
twist and
is.
that was it. That's all I did was twist it out. Did a 2-strand twist and that was it. Because I can't braid my own hair. I can braid other people's hair, but I can't braid mine.
Right, right. So no, that's good to know. But yeah, using the minimal, just natural oils, and then
Yep.
just leave it
Just
alone.
natural. And going to the beach.
Yeah, going to the that was important. That is good. Good.
Going to the beach. Eating local food. That was another thing too.
Oh yes.
Because I had more experience in cultural diversity than my other counterparts.
Mm.
Well, I'm an OT, so we know what
Right,
it's
right. So you were
predominantly a
really
white female
like,
profession. So I
right.
had the opportunity to work at all the Hawaiian schools,
Oh,
except for the one up in Hana. I didn't go there, but I worked in the Hawaiian schools. So if there was fresh fruit somebody had on their property, they brought it in, from avocados to bananas to
nice.
lilikoi, which is passion fruit,
Right.
cherimoya, which is sour sap, avocados. It was a whole bunch of others. And then I was friends with the Filipinos. So they would take me to where they got their food.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I went to the Filipino markets. I didn't go to these other chain markets
The
like Publix.
local kind
I
of
didn't. I
corporate.
shop with the locals. Saturday, you go to the farmers market.
There
You
we
know,
go.
so yeah. So I saved money. Everybody said Hawaii is expensive, but coming from at the time I was living on in Harlem on 119th Street,
Uh-huh.
and a one bedroom apartment was $2,300.
That's
That's why I left. I said I'm not paying any more money for this, So I left Harlem and I said I'm going to go visit Hawaii. I had
when
my
was this?
apartment. I had 2 master suites.
When was this when you stayed
This
in
was about
Harlem?
5 years ago.
Okay.
I had 2 master suites. Of course, you're a traveler, so we had the stipend right on the beach. You could look at the beach. It was $1,600. Everything included, cable, everything. So if
That
anybody wanted to come, I got the 2 bedroom because everybody said they were going to come and visit me. Yeah, I had a couple of visitors, but in comparison of what I got for 1,600 a month for a place I've never been, and that's why I got a more expensive place.
mm,
I wanted to be able to accommodate guests and people who
right,
wanted to
right.
come.
And be
You
comfortable and
Exactly, exactly. So, but I thought that was a good value for $1,600 coming from a 1 bedroom apartment in Harlem that really didn't have any amenities. So, yeah, and
no,
I haven't been back to New York since. Actually, I just kept traveling.
Why does New York do this to people? As much as I love New York, like, well,
I,
you said before you're from New York. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from South Jersey, but I spent most of my career, my adulthood, between Miami and New York City.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because
so
I used to have a home out in Miami Shores.
okay.
Yeah,
You
so
traveled a lot. That's amazing. But
yeah.
I'm from Queens, New York, and I
Okay.
love New York. I am a New Yorker at heart, but New York is just too expensive. And
I
once
love New York, but like you said, it
yeah,
just
it's too
New
much with the state tax and city tax and
and the county tax and
the
the
county. Yeah. Oh my God. So once you leave and realize how much further you can take your money, your dollars,
yeah,
and how much more you can get because you're not paying all those taxes, it
yep.
really is hard to go back. Because
It is. It is
I'm
because
losing
it's
so
almost freeing in a way how much more
yeah,
money you have to spend on travel.
right, right. I didn't start traveling more till I left New York, and that was in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
worked a few years after I graduated school, and then in 2015, I was just sick of it because I was like, I'm not getting any traction on my student loans living in New York, and I was living
Right.
rent free because I was living in my mom's house, which was
Yeah.
another issue. But like some of my coworkers, average rent, anywhere from 1,800 and up.
Yeah.
2,300 was the norm, and some of them had roommates, and they were paying, that
See,
was ridiculous. I was like, I can't.
it
So,
is. It is. It's
mm,
it is stifling.
it
It's
is.
a little bit stifling. Um, because when I left New York, when I picked up, if I wanted to do PRN work, that was extra money. It wasn't extra
Yeah.
money to pay for a bill, to pay for an apartment, or to pay for empty the transit card or anything like that. It was money. It was money I could use to go places. Or what I did with my extra money when I left New York is I bought more land.
There you go.
I bought more land. Um, I don't want to get to other people
Yeah.
in my video here, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I bought things like more land.
So now going into like you being an occupational therapist, because one of our members, he just said his daughter's in that field. She just graduated. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
she's currently she's soon gonna take the test for her license. So it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like the field itself gave you a lot of time to kind of travel and do what you need to. Um,
Yes, I'll
occupational
never I'll never retire.
well, you like filling in the blanks like through it. So like you're making up for that time where we would retire and try travel. You're doing it now. So that's what's up.
Yes.
Really amazing.
Yeah, I could do it now. My mentor, one of my mentors, when I grew, when I grow up, I want to be like her. She's 80 years old, and she's like a pioneer in this profession. She still practices.
Oh, okay, good. Well, you know
She,
what? It's is it one of those fields? Is it one of the many fields that is kind of like hard to get people in, or it is not enough occupational therapists? So there's usually a lot of positions available, or a lot of even
yeah,
PRN
yeah,
work available. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yes, and that's around the world
Okay, even
because
better.
we do have a World Federation of Occupational Therapists.
Okay. Have you
Yeah.
looked into living and working in an African country as an occupational therapist?
Yes, I have, and actually, I think it maybe at this age, I'm a little seasoned. I want my gray hair is not showing. I don't think I
Mm,
would want to go to another country to be an occupational therapist. I think I would if I was to move to well, I do plan on investing in another country. I don't think I would go there to be an occupational therapist.
okay.
I think I would want to do something else more, I don't know, more on the naturalistic side of things.
Right.
Maybe invest in some farms or maybe help out with a school. I would probably do something a little bit more different, more educational based,
Right.
not so much therapeutic based, or maybe a combination thereof. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because, of course, I'm thinking and planning of moving and working overseas,
Mhm.
Rwanda specifically, and I'm thinking like, God, do I want to really practice medicine there? And they need it. This is what's so sad. They do need it,
They do.
Around because I'm trying to get good lighting in here without being physically uncomfortable to do
Yeah.
it.
And I'm trying not to get the people walking
I
through here in
know.
my video. Yeah.
So sorry for all the moving around, people. Like there's a lot of shaking and moving around, but it's me trying to adjust all this and her trying to adjust her end. But yeah, so like they need the help over there,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, so I'm definitely gonna help, but I know the burnout rate is probably even worse. Like I'll be overwhelmed. So I was thinking of even
Right.
towards more so teaching others how to do it, whether it's like CPR classes or establishing something
Yeah.
to get the youth involved and
Yeah.
them into medicine, get more people to do it.
Yeah.
And
More like a cross training
yeah,
situation and not so much.
exactly.
Yeah, because of the philosophy of delivery of service is different from the United States than it is in other countries. And I think as a practitioner, we'd have to go there and wait for them to kind of let them know what we do,
Right.
but have them ask us how we can assist or be more of an assistance.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because occupational therapy can be a little bit invasive.
I,
um, for,
right.
for,
And then
yeah, because like for example, I also work with. I know this is getting off on our language base, but no, actually, no, that's good too because you have to know the language
I
when you work
know.
with a stroke patient, for example.
Right. Right.
You're touching their body. You're handling them.
Right.
So those cultural differences, females touching a man so
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would think cross education
Mm-hmm.
would probably be best because I'm not going to teach ADLs to a man in an African country going into the restroom with him and teaching him one-handed techniques. You know what I mean? Whereas here in America, we could do that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
We
the
actually do that. We go in with the all the adaptive equipment
right,
and do what we have to do. Of
and they know
course,
that you're
of
doing your
course,
job. And,
of course, with respect, sir, this is what we're going to be working on today, and blah blah blah. But I don't see myself going into an African country saying that this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to shave you, and I'm going to do this with you. No, I'm going to have to teach another male. This is the technique that you would use to treat Mr. So and so
right.
post stroke or in an acute phase or something like this. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
absolutely,
the delivery
absolutely.
approach would have to be totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of the same thing. Mine, it doesn't have to. Well, even sometimes it does get really invasive, and for the most part, it's the most invasive with females. If I'm doing, pap
Yeah.
smears or something like that, but knowing
Yeah.
the language of the base is very, very important to make sure
Yeah.
there's no miscommunication. Because if there's any miscommunication when it comes to health or treatment,
Yes.
you could really mess with this person's recovery.
Ex- exactly. Exactly.
Be
Exactly.
damaging if they don't understand you. So I'm like, I gotta really get not only their base language, I have to get the
Mhm.
medical terminology down
Yeah.
before I do anything, and become very fluent in it. And I'm sure I'm gonna have to use translators with me, like
Uh-huh.
for the most part, a good portion of it, if I I'm working there full time. But
Hmm.
and the time I'll get better. But again, like doing some of those male exams, like even
Yeah.
like
I'm
prostate
sorry. Did my picture come?
exams
Okay.
on like trying to explain to an African man the importance of a prostate exam and me having to do it may not go so well. And
Right.
I'm like, I can't even blame him. I would
Yeah. Yeah.
there's not enough science I could explain to him why I should get it done and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, wow, that's gonna be so. I look forward to more so to teaching while I'm there and like passing on the knowledge rather than me
Yeah.
actually doing
Yeah.
it.
I feel the same way. I rather do some cross training, be
Right,
available for consultations.
right, right.
Um, yeah, maybe some side by side education kind of thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a little invasive. But I do have experience too with autism, but I don't know if they have the same amount of autistic prevalence in Africa as they do here in the US. I'm not sure.
You know what? It's hard to tell because some countries it's not as how like they'll have like an association of autism kind of thing where
Hmm.
they can kind of get they have something for the people to reach out to get the help they need. That's not the case in all the countries.
Right.
And even, you know, what they have is very minimal. When I went to Rwanda, I visited a school for blind kids, and it was
Okay.
very small kids. And even then, they only had a population. They only had about 20 kids there, but
Mm-hmm.
then, like, they didn't have enough staff to manage those kids and help teach them. And this is kids from, you know, I want to say from like 1, 2 years old and up. So they could only
Oh,
take in so many a year to kind of help them get, you know, the help they need. And they were saying, like, you know, there's a huge shortage in terms of like disability care for, you know, kids
yeah.
and those people getting, you know, getting that available. So they probably do, but finding the numbers is the
Right.
difficult part. You know, having
Right.
someone who actually accumulated those numbers, how many kids, where, you know, all
Right.
that, what's available is a different game there. But
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find, like,
Hot here
I'm
in
sure you'll
Virginia.
be busy. If they found out you're here, I'm sure you'll be busy.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I think, I don't know if I would use the language, the title occupational therapist.
Right, right, right. So,
Yeah.
Pamela,
Probably something.
one of our members asked a question. He wanted to be able to reach out to you since his daughter is going into that field, or she's in that field, and
Mhm.
is testing for her license. He wanted to know if it was okay because I can share your email with him.
Sure. Sure. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do that then. But yeah, no. So in regards to the language, do you have like, are you doing it at certain levels, like level one, like beginners level, and then intermediate and
Yeah.
as
Um, as well, like I was saying, I mostly use the app Duolingo, and there may be more. I haven't investigated any more apps, but
uh-huh.
it has levels of beginner to intermediate to advanced, and until you master those levels, it will not unlock
Oh,
the other levels. It won't unlock.
okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That is really good to know. So let me see if anyone else has any questions. There wasn't too many people in the chat, but you
Yeah.
know, everyone's
Well,
pretty.
it's really hot here in Virginia, so apologize. I'm wiping my face
Oh,
back.
you're fine. Like I said, it's hot over here in Alaska. We had 90 degrees yesterday. That's how
I
bad it is.
cannot believe it. Wow.
Like, this is how global warming not real my ass because
Yeah.
I'm like, it was
That's
burning
scary.
in
93
Alaska.
in Alaska is scary. That's
Like,
scary.
yes. And it's always worse over here because of our angle to the sun. It hits
Hmm.
our entire body. So whatever temperature we have, it always feels like what you guys feel down there. Like 85 here is feels like 95.
I'm sure.
So it's so much
Yeah.
hotter. The good thing is
That's
it's
like
not humid.
closer.
Yeah, we're closer in
Closer.
the sun, the angle we are, the sun hits our entire body, so all of us get heated up very quickly. And as you know, the natives, this is not the environment they're
No.
used to. So people are going into the hospital for heat stroke.
Wow.
At like 80 degrees is too much.
Wow.
But yeah, so all right. All right.
Yeah.
One person said they use Duolingo, they just burn out easy.
You know what? That's why I mix it up.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I only do so much time, but if that's why I do the kids shows, and
Right.
there's a kids cartoon. Um, there's of course the movies, but I don't know enough of the language for the movies. Um, I do flashcards. I just do it on my own, and I
Right.
do like the guy. I'll forward the link to you. The
Okay.
guy who does the Swahili he's from Tanzania,
Uh-huh.
Dar es Salaam Swahili School or something like that.
Okay, cool.
He's really good. And there's actually one was it Mzungu, a white lady. She
Was it?
actually had Mzungu. She actually had a pretty good uh I don't know what you call it, I guess YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
She did some what you call it, missionary work, or she has an NGO. And
Right.
so I even watched some of her videos, and they were pretty good because she was at a slower pace. And then she also has a Western accent. So
So it
I
kind
was
of
able to
familiar.
listen to her and then listen to him to get more of the accent.
Oh.
But the way the way she explained it grammatically
Mm-hmm.
was easier to pick up. So I watched a couple of her videos. I think she had like 7.
Okay.
And I took notes, and I have a big chart on my wall, how I do the what's it called? Um
But
when you do he, she, with kind of like conjugating verbs.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you do I, me, you, what's it, he, she,
Mm-hmm.
and we or they, and it shows you how to do it, past tense, present tense, and future. So I
Right.
have that on my wall to study it, just little things around the house.
Okay. Good. So it seems like you developed a pretty good system.
Yeah, so now I just need to get to Tanzania, Zanzibar, someplace, and just use it.
You know, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to use your tips in terms of like learning Kinyarwanda and everything. And I was
Mhm,
going to do just get a tutor for the months that I'm there. Not this time around when I go this
mhm,
fall, but next time, next
mhm.
year. When I
Okay,
spend 3 months there at a time, I was going to do a tutor and do like 2 3 days a week training and then speak with, of course, the local population with it. But because over
right.
here, it's like, God, it's too hard for me to try to learn that language here in Alaska. And I'll
Yeah,
get some practice when I go there, but it won't be enough. So I'm more like, I need to be there. So since that
yeah,
opportunity is coming up, I'm going to take advantage of it. And it sounds like if you don't have the opportunity to be physically be in the country where you want to learn that language, um, using Duolingo, using the tips
yeah,
you use, made a big difference and kind of at least get you a groundwork, some foundation. And
yeah.
get there, it'll probably get a lot easier.
There's an African American guy I just found over the weekend. And he has a way of learning languages. I mean, he must know at least 10 or more languages. And
Oh,
he knows languages of places he's never been.
what?
Yes. So I haven't really got a chance to look at all of his videos and look at his methods, but he teaches himself at home.
That is pretty cool.
And he has and how I don't know how I found him, but anyway, he went to a grocery store in LA somewhere and just started speaking Mandarin, Japanese, and he was in another place and he was speaking Tree, which is Ghanaian, and he was speaking Somalian. He'd never been to Ghana, he'd never been to Somali, but he taught himself at home. He just loves acquiring languages. And he
Like
said,
that's a pretty cool hobby.
yeah, and he said anybody can do it. But I haven't listened to his philosophy or his theories of how he learned yet.
What is
So
he on YouTube?
yeah, he's on YouTube.
You know what his name is? I'm like, this is really interesting because one of someone said, I don't know how you can retain more than 3 languages, and I'm
But
thinking that when you're not speaking it
he's a
actively, like how do
he's
you
a
do?
true polyglot. He's a true polyglot because African languages and Latin-based languages and Asian languages, 3 different animals.
Yeah, three different
Where
things.
if you know Portuguese, Spanish, French,
Right, that Latin base was
right, they're easier to flow back and forth. But
right.
this guy, he's like 30 something, and he went to some place and started speaking Polish. He
Hmm.
went to this other place. He was one guy was speaking Twi, and the other one was Somali, and they were like, "Man, you've never been to Somalia?" He said, "You have the dialect, you have everything." And
That's
then he was over at another place speaking Mandarin and speaking Japanese. So it takes a level of retention, to be able to do that. And he
right.
said I am not a genius. He said I'm not any smarter than anybody else. He said he just learns, he just loves learning languages and just has his mind open to learn the language. But he said he developed a system, and I haven't looked at that video yet to see what his system is. But I also
Um,
one that I am following, the gentleman from TED Talk who said how to acquire another language in 6 months. I'll forward you that TED Talk link. And that's basically
what I am doing now, because I'm at the point now, all I need is a language parent
So I'm
to
looking,
start.
is his name Laushu?
Yes, 50 something or something like that.
55,000. Okay,
Yes,
so I found his channel and I'll share it with you guys. Yeah, he speaks 20 languages. My gosh.
yes. He blows the minds of people who are native.
I bet, like, that's a lot of different languages. I mean, it's very impressive, but I'm like, how are you? I need to watch and see how's he doing this. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, well, I'm doing it easy to, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just shared the link to his channel so people can check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll find it. The other one is How to Acquire a Language in 6 Months. It's a TED Talk.
Okay, the
It's a
TED
TED
Talk.
Talk, and this particular person, he's a white man, and he's a linguist. He's a linguist,
Okay.
and he actually showed how he acquired Arabic in 6 months, and then he went to Egypt to actually show how he put the language in place in practice.
All right, good. I found the video. I'm gonna share the link to it.
Yeah, because one of my real good friends, she's Mandarin Chinese, and she said she's trying to blackmail me because she wants me to go back to work at her facility in California, and she said, I'll teach you Mandarin.
Yeah,
I said, I'll teach you Mandarin. I'm like, oh wow. Because Mandarin is actually a really good language to learn on an international level.
Yeah,
especially with business and things of that nature. So
right. I mean, it's funny because for years in the U.S., would they push you just learn Spanish because with Mexico being closed and the amount of immigrants and all that, and then come to find out, it's just like now is this really not? There's so many other options. Mandarin is one that that's taken hold even in African countries.
Yeah. So even if you understand it and don't speak it, at least you know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Understanding it is important.
Yeah.
So I shared that link.
My battery's getting low here. Hold on.
I know.
I'm gonna turn my car on.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We can close out because we've gotten so much information from you. It's been super helpful, and like I'm able to share what you told.
You know what? I have another question. Is there anyone that's interested in getting together and traveling, doing some, just some free?
Yes,
sometimes I want to go places and I really don't want to go by myself, but I don't like big groups.
I don't like big groups either because
I don't like to travel with no more than about 4 to 6 of us at a time.
You better than me because a lot of times I prefer to travel by myself. One, because I know that if you travel you can go to the best place on earth, but if you go with the wrong person, it can be hell.
But I have a criteria when I travel with more than 4 people. You have to be an independent traveler, because if I'm going to a destination that's on the beach, don't bother me because I'm staying at the beach all day.
Right.
You go ahead and do you.
Right.
And I'll meet you back for lunch or something like that. I'll travel, but most of the time I like to travel with at least 6 people. Number one, for safety, and number one, you can get the financial deals that you can get when you travel for 4 to 6 people. That's about all I want to travel with. And I think like for example, the gentleman that I'm talking that I'm trying to link up with to go to Kenya, the price is fantastic.
Okay.
When you're dealing with 4 to 6 people. Huh?
4 to 6 people, you said. How much was he charging for a group of 4 to 6 people?
I thought I had it in my car.
So you know what? I think we should start that group. Independent travelers who, because I see myself as an independent traveler. I don't mind traveling with people, but I do kind of go off and do my own thing from time to time. Like if I want to do something,
me too. But I'm talking in terms of financially and just having somebody to watch my back kind of thing. and I watch your back. But if you want to go to the town square, you go. Yeah. If I want to go, I'm going. You can check in with me, but you don't have to. Exactly. But at least I know you're on the ground or something like that. But I don't like nobody following behind me. You know, and I had and the reason why is because I had an experience with someone. It was a group of us, and there was the person was older, but still a very immature traveler. What are you wearing to dinner? Oh. Or do we have to do this? And I'm like, you're grown. You do what you want to do. You eat what you want to eat. You go when you want to go. You know, we're just roommates, but you don't have to stick by me, or you know, you don't have to dress the same way that I dress. Right. But you know,
different interests and different capabilities. Like it makes sense.
But financially, we can actually double the amount of times that we can take vacations or trips and stay longer at certain places if we had at least 4 to 6 people, you know, in combination.
Right. No, that's not a bad idea. Actually, I really like the idea. I'm like, oh, that's like a good
like business. For example, we did a bit 4 of my good friends, we're like sisters, and we did a test trial. We rented a house and can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, we did a house in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mm-hmm. And it was huge, but it was like 5 of us. And the cost of it was so cheap because we split it between the 5 of us. Right. Where if it was like 2 of us, you only talking about a 1-week trip. But when you talk about 4 or 5 of us, we could afford the place for a whole month. You know, and have money to spare for the next trip. Mm-hmm. But we did an experiment because one of my friends is a mutual friend and the other people didn't know the other people, but these are people I know that I would want to travel with. So I brought them together. I was like, oh, please make this work. Yeah, I brought them together and I figured I'd bring them together in America, not in another country, right? Let me tell you, we had a ball. So I do have 4, one's Jamaican, one's African American. So I got a good 4 of my friends. It's just that our schedules are not, they don't really sync, you know, because I'm independent and they're not. But I know that I could travel with those 4 other women anywhere in the world now that the 4 of them know each other.
Right. That's
you know what I mean? So, you know, just finding those people who you know can mesh in the world with you was cool. It was really good. I was afraid at first, but it was,
and I mean, it was a good point. Like, yeah, groups help you get better rates. You don't do as much as you would as an individual. As a woman, we are looking for places that we can be safe, or you know, a lot of places you don't want to go by yourself. So being in a group adds that, you know, layer of safety, or having like someone else know where you are and just like, and I like saying like, hey, I'm going over here for today. I'm going to text you through WhatsApp or whatever. And you know where you're at. So just to have that backup and stuff.
Right. So let me tell you, they got some beautiful villas in Mombasa and Tanzania, but I don't want to spend that kind of money by myself. But with other people, I'm talking about 6 and 7, 8-bedroom villas. You talking about pennies of the dollar on the night. You know what I mean? Because let's just get the villa for the whole month and have a ball, that kind of thing. You know?
Right. That actually, that makes sense. And like for the longest, I wanted to travel with friends and do something like that. But then once something happens, you know, with one friend and another, it could have ruined the whole trip for everybody. So then it's like, you know what? I'm better off traveling with people I don't know just because of that alone. But no, it's traveling in groups makes sense for the rates. And yes, some of those places are really, really, really nice. So taking advantage of that.
That would be my number 1 criteria. You have to be an independent-minded traveler.
That's a good one. Yeah, so you can't be like naive to it, never traveled before, and then go in and expecting to be glued to somebody's side and do everything.
Exactly.
Like it really takes having an open mind. And you like your mind gets more open the more you travel, the more you
Yes.
think. So that's actually that's a good criteria. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there isn't there I'm sure there's quite a few people who don't mind, who've experienced some problems with traveling in groups and don't mind independent travel because they travel often. So it wouldn't be hard to get.
Yeah.
If we just put out, a notice and, find out who wants to, it wouldn't be hard to get,
Right.
some
Right.
people. I'm sure we'll get more than 6 people, but we'll just have to.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Because I found out I can only speak from female travel groups. I can only speak from the female experience of traveling with more females.
Right.
It's too much estrogen, and it's personality clashes. And I find that 4 to 6 is a very comfortable number in terms of sharing facilities and still being able to do what you want to do. I think once you get to that 10-mile mark, is just too much. Now, if it was a mixture of male and females, 6 females, 6 men, I think it might be a better situation. But I personally would not want to travel with any more than 6 people of the same gender.
Okay.
Just from my experience and my experience traveling for a number of years, I find it doesn't work out well.
I've never traveled with that much. It's with naive travelers. I think the most I traveled with was 3 others. So it was 4 of us, but 2 like naive travelers. So it was very annoying. It was
work.
Yeah, it was
work on vacation.
Yes. I mean, one because I went with one of my a friend of mine who I graduated with. I went with her, and her aunt and mom wanted to go with us. We went to Italy, and as beautiful as it was, as good as the food was, I can't even remember that. I'm just like, oh my God, I hate all of you now because the mom wanted to pay everything. Her aunt wanted to pay everything in U.S. dollars. And when you go to Europe, the euro is more valuable than U.S. dollars. So they don't care for the U.S. dollars there, rightfully so. But she's had the mindset that, she doesn't travel often, even though they're Greek and she hasn't gone in years. But she had the mindset like, oh, it's the U.S. It's the best money in the world. It works everywhere. So she was offending so many people by constantly demanding they take her U.S. dollars. And she got to the point she refused to change the money to euro. So I'm like, now you just to be like, it was that level of an ego and stuff. So I'm like, oh my God. And of course, my friend was embarrassed for her. And then my friend, she was another hot mess. It was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. See, that's why I did my experiment here in America.
Yeah, that was smart.
Yes, because if something would have jumped off, I would have been at the Phoenix airport, or I would have rented a car and went back to LA. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm in the bush somewhere at a safari lodge, I'm stuck.
Yeah. So I was stuck. I mean, I was stuck at the hotel. Thankfully, the last night. Bad this happened in 2016.
Oh, recent.
2016. And till this day, like me and my friend are no longer friends anymore because of that.
Oh no!
That's how bad it was, because the way her and her family started acting and embarrassing all of us. So to the point, the last day of the trip, I didn't even say bye. I was in my own separate hotel room in a cab in the morning, hopped on that plane back to the States. And I was like, you don't need to, like, we're splitting up some cost of things. I'm like, don't worry about the hotel. Let that go towards the rental car. I don't care anymore. Like, so this, like, like we kind of just are acquaintances now because of that trip. So. Yes,
that's why I said my number 1 criteria: you have to be an independent traveler.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll do that to you, but no, it wouldn't be hard to start that group and find out who's independent.
Okay. Keep it that'd be cool.
To a minimum.
That'll be wonderful.
All right. So, but thank you, Pamela, for sharing your tips and tricks and learning Swahili, what to work for you, and sharing all of what you do and where you traveled and how you're able to fit all of this in. This
Okay.
was super helpful, and we'll
Thank
share
you for
your
inviting me.
yeah. And again, Pamela is a BAIO sister. She's in the state of Virginia. She's in the process of selling her house, and she's gonna go down to South Carolina as her base and travel some more.
Yep.
When she gets a chance. But again, thanks again, sis. I'll let you go.
All right.
All right.
Kwahari.
All right, Gohari. Peace, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Bye.